Welcome to Learn for Exam. My name is Gurpreet Singh, an IIT alumni. Now I'm in GIM, and GIM is a very huge campus. And today with me I have the Ajit sir, who's the director of GIM. ऑलराइट एंड जीआईएम के अंदर मैंने बहुत सारी ऐसी ऐसी चीज़ें देखी हैं जिसमें मेरे को बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आए हैं मन में कि यार ये क्या करती है, इस लैब में क्या होता है, बिकॉज यहाँ पे बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. देयर इज अ behavioral lab, there's a finance lab, there's a big data lab, and then we have exchange program, we have incubation center जो कि स्टार्टअप्स को हेल्प करता है. तो उन्हीं सारी स्टोरीज को लेके मैं सर से क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला हूँ कि ये सारी चीज़ें कैसे हेल्प करती हैं. एंड इफ़ यू नो अबाउट सर कहाँ से आए हैं, वो कैसे डायरेक्टर बने, सब कुछ तो वो भी मैंने पिछले साल एक सेशन किया था. वो आप यहाँ आई बटन पे क्लिक करके वो सेशन जरूर से देख सकते हैं. ऑलराइट, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट एंड लेट्स वेलकम सर. वेलकम टू लर्न फॉर एग्जाम सर.
Thank you. I thought
Yeah, and sir, one question in the starting because I want to keep this short. The first question is, what these kind of labs are doing in the campus, like finance lab. मैंने आज तक मतलब सोचा भी नहीं था कि finance lab होगी. There is a ticker which is going on in the lab कि वहाँ पे Sensex और Nifty आ रहा है. The big data analytics lab and the behavioral lab. ये labs क्या करती हैं? Can you just explain in the short?
sure. So the finance lab I'll talk about first. We are one of the very few institutes in the country that have both Bloomberg as well as Thomson Reuters in the finance lab. Institutions have one of these two. They're very, very expensive resources, but we have both. There's a ticker that runs real time. There are screens that real time show CNBC footage, and students can do live as well as mock trading. You can do both. So we have, for example, a student group called Vinidhan that manages two separate funds. They actually manage money, and every quarter they'll give reports. So not only are you reading what's happening in books for students, we run a banking and insurance and financial services as well as a PGDM, with a specialization in finance. These students get real world experience of doing equity research, right? As far as the behavioral lab is concerned, this is state of the art. We are probably one of the first business schools in the country to have a behavioral science lab. So what has to happen earlier on? Let me take an example of marketing. How do people react to advertising? How do they behave in a retail store? These were all based on hypothesis. And you would ask people, and many times they didn't know the answers themselves because lot of your decision making is made in the subconscious. Now, what the behavioral science lab does, it actually takes your physiological signals. Matlab ki, if you are looking at, let's say, some video or you're watching something on a phone, what you're actually paying attention to, you may not even know, but what it does is directly from the equipment, it's able to look at into your eye and tell you where you're paying attention for what period of time. Simultaneously, there is something that goes on your finger, which is called, skin conductance. It sees when is it that your pulse rate is going up, when is it that you're getting goose pimples. And these things, if you're watching in an ad, where you're paying attention to in the ad. Are you looking at the model? Are you looking at the food in the ad? Are you looking at the brand name? What are you looking at? And when you're looking at it, what's happened to your pulse? What's happening to your pupil dilation? So you're not asking people questions. You're seeing physiological, how do they react? You can have an EEG where you're saying brain signal processing. When people are watching something, are they active internally or are they just passively watching and just taking it in without much of things happening? Is the ad stimulating? So now that's absolute state of the art. And the third is in terms of data analytics. So all our students, like any good business school, have their own computers. On an average, a student has 2 devices. But for doing big data analytics, you need big databases and you need very high computing power. So we have 3 now data analytics labs, 2 for our BDA program and 1 for our finance program, because new age banking is for our new age banking program. These are very high-end computers which can work at very high speeds, and they have latest expensive software programs like SAS and of course SPSS, Minitab, and so many other kind of So we tie up. We are both SAS tied up as well as an IBM tied up institution, and again we are one of the only institution who has both of them. Yes, so students of course benefit.
All right. So the next question, sir, that is very interesting for me as well. As a Shark Tank is coming, a lot of buzz is creating about the startups and everything. So incubation center is there. उसमें क्या होता है? You guys fund those startups या फिर वो आप ही के startups रहते हैं? वो क्या है? मतलब वो क्यों है यहाँ पर? एंड एक MBA कॉलेज का तो सिंपल सा होता था कि यार हमें बस बच्चों को प्लेसमेंट दिलानी है. ये स्टार्टअप कल्चर ये MBA कॉलेज में कब से आ गया और वो उसको लेके आपका क्या कहना है?
देखिए, today the main ambition of students who are coming to business school and going to engineering colleges is not getting into big companies, but it is starting their own startups. Startup economy is completely different from the old economy. वहाँ पे जो speed है ना, it is so many times faster and so much more vibrant. Now, how will students learn this when all our faculty, all visiting faculty, all come from traditional industry? So having an incubation center here will make sure that, so we have today over 30 startups that are incubating with us in variety of different areas. Students get to intern with them. They'll meet them in the cafeteria. They'll go to the AIC. We were one amongst the first 13 out of 3,600 startups incubation centers who had applied to Niti Aayog. So we have a Niti Aayog grant for that. Very recently, we got a 2.6 crore grant from Startup India. So today, in the startups that come here, we can give them funds of, let's say, 20 lakh rupees. That will help them, set up their businesses and run their businesses, including for our own student, our own alumni, and we have startups coming from all across the country. Now, this is very, very good for students because they get to see this firsthand. They get to see mentors coming in, investors coming in, people real time struggling and trying to put up their own startups and going through that journey. That's invaluable. You can't get it. There are very, very few Atal incubation centers in business schools. I think there are only 5 business schools in the country that have an AIC, and GIM was one among the first in them. So I think students will benefit immensely from that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And the last question is about the exchange program. So मैंने स्टूडेंट से बात करी है, उसमें से काफ़ी सारे स्टूडेंट्स गए हैं जो बाहर जाते हैं, सीख कर आते हैं और यहाँ पे भी आते हैं. देयर इज़ अ हॉस्टल डेडिकेटेड टू दी MDP जिसे कहते हैं. बेसिकली वो बाहर से यहाँ पर आएंगे. तो ये एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम में वो यहाँ पर आके वो स्टूडेंट्स क्या सीख रहे हैं और हमारे यहाँ से स्टूडेंट्स जो जा रहे हैं वो क्या सीख रहे हैं?
देखिए, 20-25 साल पहले जब मैं MBA कर रहा था, that time the opportunity for Indians to go and have international exposure very, very little. India was more a closed economy. In 1991 we opened up. अभी क्या हो रहा है is I have close to 1,000 of my alumni who are working all across the world, and therefore we have to train them for international exposure. वो नहीं हो पाएगा unless and until you have students spending a term outside, students from outside coming here. Or that's the important part. It's not about courses. Indian business schools are way, way better than business schools. I teach in business schools in Europe and in US. We are way more competitive and much better quality students. But living in another country, meeting people from 15 different countries in your classroom, that gives you a kind of learning that prepares you directly to go onto the global stage. So what we have done, though during the pandemic, travel had become much lesser internationally, it became a good time for us to network and increase our international exchange partners. So earlier, all our exchange partners were in Europe and US, like traditional. Now we added partners in, so we added partners in Morocco, we added a partner in Ethiopia, we added a partner in Israel, we added a partner in Bangladesh, 2 partners in Bangladesh, 1 in Pakistan, various parts of Africa. I think that's important because these are economies. Emerging economies are places where we need students to come from there and students from here also to be able to go there. So internationalization of the experience is extremely important because students will pass out from GIM are going into global careers. They're not going to India-centric careers alone.
So now I have with me Kaushik sir, जो कि प्रोफेसर है BIFS के अंदर. So I have some questions for the BIFS first of all. So GIM के अंदर BIFS एक अलग से कोर्स बनाया गया है which is Banking and Insurance Financial Services for MBA. आप बैंकिंग इंश्योरेंस के डिपार्टमेंट में करते हैं. जैसे कि MBA होती है कोर, तो ये डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट होता है. सो उसी के लिए मेरे पास सबसे पहले सर आपके लिए क्वेश्चन. द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट इज BIFS and what students learn in this course apart from the core program?
Yeah, well, the BIFS is the Banking, Insurance and Financial Services program. This is primarily designed for the banking industry in India. We know India is going through a large growth rate, very high growth rate, and financial services play a very important role in maintaining this growth rate. And to keep this expanding financial services, you require high quality professionals. And that's what GIM is catering to, producing high caliber professionals who will help in accelerating the financial growth. Now, the specialty of this program, apart from an MBA program, is it's more concentrated towards finance. And all the inputs are driven by all the faculty members. Most of them have at some point of time had an experience in the banking sector or in the financial sector. So we bring into the classroom the real life perspectives from the financial sector. And this program is also unique from the other MBA programs in that students get a chance to work with Python and R, which are the two most popular programming languages in the financial sector, right from the first trimester. So the entire program is very well built and customized towards the financial sector, taking into account the new developments.
The next question, sir, is about the placements. Okay, as you all know, कि placements बहुत ज़्यादा important होती हैं. So, what are the placements going on, and why the industry need this MBA in BFS? Why they don't like ये need एक normal MBA core वाले क्यों नहीं कर सकते fulfill? Why they need a banking?
Well, the placement, we have placed the first batch, 100% placement. Leading companies like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and all have visited the campus and recruited. So, in that way, we can say the program has achieved its, what should I say, success in the first batch itself. When you have such big brand names coming in, investment banking world, brand names coming to the campus. Now, the reason why there is a focus towards this side and not towards the general program is because day by day finance is becoming more and more quantitative. Uh, 30 or 40 years ago, if you were to visit a financial program in any MBA institute, it would have been basic equity valuation and some simple mathematics. Today, derivatives and fixed income securities have taken a played a big role in the development of financial markets. And in this program, therefore, we have decided to concentrate on these particular aspects right from the second trimester itself. So by the time the student is 4 months into the program, he's already being exposed to the valuations and modeling of financial instruments, which in a normal program he would have been exposed in the second year. So right from the onset, so when he goes for the summer internship placement, he has much more knowledge of the financial industry than the general MBA program.
So now I'm in the behavioral lab जहाँ पे मुझे कपिल सर मिले और मुझे एक बहुत ही यूनिक डिवाइस दिखाया दैट इज द आई ट्रैकिंग डिवाइस एंड द वर्थ ऑफ द डिवाइस इज इन लैक्स इट्स वेरी एक्सपेंसिव डिवाइस टू बी ऑनेस्ट एंड इसकी जो फंक्शनैलिटी है और ये क्यों यूज़ किया जाता है और इससे क्या पढ़ाया जाता है स्टूडेंट्स को वो जान के तो आप बहुत शॉक्ड होने वाले हैं सो आई हैव कपिल सर सो कपिल सर प्लीज लेट मी नो अबाउट दिस डिवाइस एंड वाई दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स एंड why you're not using that survey वाला method जो सभी करवाते हैं सारे students करते हैं कि हाँ survey भर दो why using this device and how it is like more practical or more useful for the students.
Thanks for having me here, first of all. So this is an eye tracking device in the behavioral lab. So eye tracking device, what it does is sees where you're exactly looking on a screen. So this device is calibrated on this monitor. You are sitting here. Now, when I watch an ad, a series, a movie, the device records where your eyes were focused at every point in time. So this helps advertisers in understanding if the ads are effective or not, right? So if the advertiser is interested in understanding a particular concept, right, they have 5 6 concepts, ad concepts, and they want to see which one is going to be most effective, where my product is going to be focused upon. I can use this device to do a test market sort of a thing with a sample respondent, and to understand if this device is the ad concept is actually going to work or not. Traditional surveys are fraught with a lot of problems. Your biases, internal biases. Sometimes you're shy to admit that I was looking at the model. Sometimes sometimes you just forget what you saw a couple of minutes back when you watched an ad. Right? When you respond, there are all these problems that may happen in traditional surveys. But here we don't need to measure those responses. What we are seeing is what you see, right? So there is no question of any error. So that helps in coming up with an accurate understanding of the effectiveness of your ad. It can be also used not only in marketing, but can be used in finance to understand if the stock market, the way you observe stock markets, right? How people actually understand, the various graphs which are, or the various curves which are mentioned on the screen, right? So all these online portals, right, which help you in buying and selling shares, right? They can actually customize their screens depending on how you look, right? So all these things can be done on this thing because it's more accurate. So that's its major function. We normally use this particular topic in one of our courses called marketing research or business research. So we can understand how to do research with these devices directly.
Okay, so now the next department is HCM, Healthcare Management. Healthcare Management recently में बहुत popular हुआ because of COVID and GIM has a specialization in this. Okay, so I have a professor Devashish जो कि इसके बारे में बताएंगे. And professor, I have one question कि एक ही क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा पर उसमें बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस होंगे. ओके, सो द फर्स्ट थिंग इज कि ये कोर्स कोई भी कर सकता है एचसीएम का. फॉर एग्जांपल कोई अगर साइंस बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है या फिर कोई कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है या फिर आर्ट्स बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है, वो चीज़. दूसरी चीज़ इसकी कट ऑफ क्या रहती है एंड प्लेसमेंट सिनेरियोज कैसे हैं और इन फ्यूचर इसका लाइक इस स्पेशलाइजेशन का स्कोप कितना है. प्लीज आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन.
Thank you, Gurpreet. So all these questions are very important, but luckily इन सबके जवाब बहुत simple हैं. So I'll start with your last question कि इसका scope क्या है. Like you said कि healthcare because of the whole situation, I would say कि even before the pandemic situation, healthcare was and still is the fastest growing sector. And healthcare involves, don't think about only hospitals. Healthcare is about pharmaceutical companies. Healthcare is about medical devices, insurance companies and insurance products, and pretty much about the whole infrastructure in the country. So if you choose healthcare, you can go and work in any of these domains. So the variety of domains is huge and you can choose and pick ki kahan kaam karna hai, right? The next question was कि किसके लिए है. I would think कि healthcare उन लोगों के लिए है, especially our program is for those who want to work in a sector where they want to solve some real life problems, right? और जिनमें की growth rate भी ज़्यादा हो, right? So healthcare job market is growing at more than 15%, CAGR every year. And right now we are talking about, अभी हम 1 minute की बात करेंगे, उसमें every 1 minute one healthcare job is being created, right? So market is expanding like anything with huge scope, huge variety of domains, and we need more people to work in healthcare other than doctors and nurses, right? GIM healthcare management ka placement actually happens in again companies like Infosys, Cognizant, KPMG. So consulting firms में जाते हैं where they have healthcare verticals, or even like health IT sector में जाते हैं, as I said, Cognizant, Infosys, and American companies where they work on American clients. We also have big recruiters like Johnson and Johnson, which always has been one of the highest paying recruiters for us. Companies like Cipla, Abbott, or Roche Pharmaceuticals. So placements are always, our numbers are always improving over the years. This year we saw the highest package uh, historically ever, and the average and the median also went up. So we have like 26 lakhs ka package, and the average is also close to 11 lakhs per annum. So yeah, that's so I would suggest that it's for anyone who, so it's not dependent on which field you come from. Either you are a science graduate or a commerce or an arts graduate. If you are passionate about healthcare, you can join this course. It's not very technical, so you can easily study this. And we don't have a cutoff because we admit students based on their profile. So again, based on their interest and passion to work in the field.
So now we have the big data analytics department. All right, and we have a professor Hemant with me जो कि बताएंगे कि बिग डेटा एक ऐसा कोर्स जो भी 2 साल पहले स्टार्ट हुआ था जिसमें मेरे भी स्टूडेंट्स पढ़े थे और उनको मैंने कहा था कि बिग डेटा इज अ न्यू थिंग. ऑल राइट, एंड अब जाओ प्लेसमेंट्स मुझे लगता है कि अच्छी ही होंगी. एंड आफ्टर 2 इयर्स प्लेसमेंट्स ने कोर जो प्रोग्राम है यहाँ का उसको भी पीछे छोड़ दिया. उसकी एवरेज से भी ज़्यादा एवरेज बिग डेटा में है और बिग डेटा की डिमांड बहुत ज़्यादा होने वाली है. आई नो दैट, बट आई जस्ट वॉन्ट टू नो सर कि बिग डेटा एक जो कोर्स है उसमें आप क्या पढ़ाते हैं जो कि कोर्स से अलग है. इसकी प्लेसमेंट फिर इस वजह से क्यों ऊपर जा रही है एंड इसका क्या फ्यूचर है और कैसे ये स्टूडेंट्स को हेल्प करने वाली है इन फ्यूचर. प्लीज आंसर दिस क्वेरी.
But the main thing that I would like to say about big data analytics is that big data has been there to some extent. It was not taking off in a big way, but with organizations accepting technology in a huge kind of a way, technology has become a huge capital cost for organizations. Earlier on, organizations used to spend on buildings and others as capital cost. Today, technology is a capital cost. Now, when you're using too much amount of technology, you require people to use that technology. So all organization will be technology companies. SDFC is a technology company. It's not a bank. Asian Paints is a technology company. So you can look at the supply chain of Asian Bank. It's an end-to-end kind of SaaS built that gives them so much amount of advantage. Okay, so the factors of production in the earlier industrial organizations, where your land, people, machinery, labor, capital, add to it data, that is giving them huge advantage. So now if those companies that don't have data or are not collecting data or not able to do or get insights from data, they will be left back. So you can't have a manager who is ignorant with almost all of these things. So actually it is something which is MBA now. Okay, the older MBA have to reinvent themselves. They have to be huge on technology. Okay, so it's not that the older generations of MBA colleges they fulfill their purpose for industrial organization, but these are all technology organizations. You require new talent for it, new type of skills, new type of attitudes to be given, and that's what we are trying for this big data analytics program. I see this is the MBA of the future. So I would suggest that if you have a choice and you think that you want to do big data analytics program, PGP in big data analytics program, please come to GIM. Please do it for this program. You won't regret. Yeah.
So that's the about the big data. And basically I just want to sum it up. सर ने एक एग्जांपल दिया था एशियन पेंट्स का। एशियन पेंट्स का एग्जांपल में ये मतलब था कि एशियन पेंट्स आज इस वजह से है क्योंकि उनके पास वो टेक्नोलॉजी है कि उनको पता होता है कि अगर उनका कोई डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के पास पेंट खत्म होने वाला है तो कब खत्म होने वाला है, उसकी क्या डिमांड होने वाली है, बिकॉज उन्होंने वो डेटाबेस पे काम किया है। एंड दिस इज व्हाट डेटाबेस डू फॉर यू। अगर आपने अच्छे से एनालिसिस किया देन यू कैन इंक्रीज योर डिमांड, इंक्रीज योर सेल्स बेसिकली, ऑलराइट, एंड इंक्रीज योर रेवेन्यूज। एंड उसी के लिए यहाँ पे पढ़ाया जाता है। सो डेटा एनालिसिस is the most important thing in future for the big companies. And plus यहाँ पे बहुत सारे cultural events होते हैं। You will get the sports, for sports you have basketball court and the football court, and you have badminton court, you have gym, you have swimming pool. These kind of facilities are in the GIM, and a lot of things you will find in GIM. Alright, so that's it, and hit the like button, like this video, share this video with all your friends, and comment down below if you find such a query. Thank you very much. Have a lovely awesome day ahead.